Good morning. Are you all fine? Good. I like to say that the gospel we just listened to now is taken from the gospel according to John chapter 6. This chapter 6 gospel of John is a very lengthy chapter. And for the next for the next 4 weeks, we are going to be reading from this very chapter of John's Gospel. So till the last Sunday in August, we shall be reading from this one chapter. It's a very lengthy discourse that begins with the story of the feeding, the miracle of the feeding of 5,000 with 5 loaves, which we just had today. And it will morph into Eucharistic discourse, bread of life discourse. And there will be a lot of arguments. So stay tuned and listen and enjoy from Sunday to Sunday. Back to the very passage we have just listened to. Beautiful story about Jesus multiplying 5 loaves to feed 5,000 people. It's strange to talk about 5 loaves feeding 5,000. It is strange to us, but we need to understand that because of the persons that are involved in the story, it is divine. It is a miracle. It is miraculous. Okay. So what is miracle? Miracle is actually something that sounds really strange, like saying that 5 loaves fed 5,000. For us human beings, it is very difficult for us to actualize that, it's not possible to us humans. But when God, who is almighty, steps down and acts, then it becomes possible, because to God, everything is in fact possible. So, a miracle happens through the finger of God to make what is impossible for us to truly become possible, because God is in it, because God is involved. Is that okay? All right. Who works miracles? God is always behind the miracle. However, God uses human elements, human instruments to perform miracles. In our Christian faith, Jesus is able to perform the miracle. He is not just an instrument that God uses to perform the miracle, but our faith teaches us that he himself, in fact, is divine. And that is the reason why he could do whatever he wanted to do. Like feeding 5,000 people with 5 loaves. Apart from Jesus, whom our faith teaches us is divine, there are other human elements that God uses to perform miracles. For instance, the friend of God in the first reading. And what is his name? Elisha. Elisha was messenger of God, God's prophet in Israel, way down before Jesus ever was conceived. And because he has been called by God to become God's messenger and working with God amongst God's people, God worked the miracle of feeding many people, a community, with only 20 barley loaves. So the same kind of thing, miracle of feeding, God feeding God's people. So actually miracle can, be performed by God, but through the instrumentality of human beings. I was really shocked one day during the festival. I was walking, coming out of the festival, and a lady met me together with the husband, and they introduced themselves to me. And after greeting them, I was trying to walk away. And the husband said, "Honey, Father Jerome does not actually know the person that is greeting him." And I stood. I said, "What are you talking about?" So the lady told me that we had a healing mass here, and after I laid hands on her, she got some kind of miraculous, healing. I was amazed, and I was just looking at her. But she made a big fuss, out of it. For her, God has used me, to heal her. Okay. It is not Father Jerome who did that. Absolutely, it is God who did that. But God can use us. Now, one very quick one I want us to understand in God using us is that we, as human beings, might not be perfect. We might not be too good guys or girls or ladies. We might not be exceptional people. We might not be so special people, but God can use us. And this is why I will like us to just stop underestimating yourselves. Stop thinking low of yourselves. Stop saying that you are poor. Stop saying that you have nothing to offer. Realize who you are. That as God's creation, God has put something of God in you. And because of the divinity that you carry in you, you have such great potence. And God can actually use you to perform wonders and miracles. Think about the little boy who offered up his 5 loaves. His name was not mentioned in that passage, in that story. The scripture keeps his identity anonymous. And whenever you have that kind of anonymity in the scriptures, in beautiful passages like this, it creates a space for Dick and Jim to be that little boy, for Jimmy to be that little boy, for Michael to be that little boy, for Sally to be that little boy. It creates space for Lino to be that little boy who has just a little thing to offer. And God takes that little thing and multiplies it and makes it great for the community. In the responsorial psalm for today's liturgy, I'd like to read what you have there. The eyes of all look hopefully to you, and you give them their food in due season. You open wide your hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing. God uses us, you and I, to answer the prayers of people who petition God. The Lord is just in all his ways and holy in all his works. The Lord is near to all who call upon him, to all who call upon him in truth. God is Father of all. Your Father, my Father, our Father. That is what St. Paul tries to teach us in that second reading. God is Father of all. And this God who is Father of all has responsibility to take care of each and every one of us, all of us as a community. And because we realize that this God is a provident Father who cares for all of us and grants our desires, whenever we are in need, we go down in prayer. We kneel and we ask and we petition him, and he answers us. The question is, how does God do that? Do you realize that God answers prayers of every living soul by not personally coming down as though God lives in heaven and comes down to us? No. God answers the prayers of the living souls by involving us, by involving you and I to perform wonders in the lives of everyone who petitions God. And that is why you are that little boy who had just only 5 loaves, and Jesus takes it and uses it to bless everyone. You and I are called to also respond to the desire of God to satisfy our needs by making ourselves and whatever God has used to bless us available to God to bless the world. And even when you are in need, you will have God, through the instrumentality of other people, bless you and care for you and provide your needs.